last week we ended the session with a fight in the streets of the city between a small contingent of what you have now found out to be followers of Bhaal, the Lord of Murder. Most of you last week spent your morning in the barracks, speaking to Captain Lightheart as he came and went throughout the early morning, attending to some of his own personal business inside of the city and returning every so often to check up on you all. Our new arrival, Dolos, you had escaped an intense encounter with one of the 4 Grand Dukes of Baldur's Gate and the head of the Flaming Fist, the current head of the Flaming Fist, Duke Older Ravengard, narrowly escaping what seems to be a thwarted plot to kidnap the High Overseer of El Terrell, the neighboring city to Baldur's Gate, and put you there in place for a important meeting between the, I don't know, what do you call them, political leaders of the 2 neighboring cities. So you guys are still in the streets of Baldur's Gate, just below the High Gate where your barracks resides, in this large intersection of the streets of the lower city. There are still some dead cultists lying about. Heavy mist still rolls between the open streets, between the buildings, kind of all stacked up on top of each other. A few people have now come out of their residence or neighboring shops and have started to help clear some of the dead victims of the cultists out of the streets as well. You have one remaining cultist that is still alive and sort of half conscious. He rolls over onto his back and he kind of spits a bit of blood down the front of his chin, and he looks up at the sky, and you can see like his eyes are bloodshot and red, and he just starts cackling gleefully in amusement, sort of almost like without much care that, you know, he's been captured by all of you. And that's where we are.
Is the map blank?
I accidentally deleted everything off of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys can throw yourselves down on there. You guys can throw yourselves down on there if you want. There's like no action left, but I'll at least throw the guy down that still remains.
What? We're gonna throw him down the stairs?
Oh, bug.
Oh, I think you guys got the priest.
Yeah.
We got the main. We got the guy with the spiritual weapon.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that swung the opposite direction because he's dumb.
Yeah, well, it killed his friend. I'm pretty sure. So, first thing I'm gonna do. The guy's awake, so I am going to first kick him in the jaw to shut him up.
How hard do you kick him? Make an athletics check.
This is the one time I don't want to roll.
You still got some adrenaline running through your body, you know, from the fight.
So, yeah, no. Okay, that's a good number. I like that.
He kind of kicks him. He spits more blood out. You hear like a tooth clatter on the cobble streets, and he kind of grins up at you, laughing. A little gap in his one of his big 2 front teeth is missing. Pathetic.
You can say that. Now.
You're the pathetic one. You worship a god named Bhaal. Like, what am I supposed to do? Roll him along the ground, bounce him off the wall? throw him across the air so my nephew can catch him. Like, come on, that's such a stupid name for a god.
He kind of like tilts his head back on the stones and he points behind him where they're picking up a dead body, and he says, "Mocking the Lord of Murder will only cause you to end up like them."
And worshipping him caused the same thing now, didn't it?
Ah, this has always been my fate. In my death I will only serve my Lord.
Well, then we keep him alive, right, peep? Right, everybody?
If you wish.
We could
I just
use that
wanna be
little
out
arm.
there.
We could use that little basement that we found. Do we have
I just
any
wanna
ropes?
say, I will be off to the side.
I think I have rope. Yeah, I have 10 feet of rope.
Oh, we already tied him up.
I think somebody. I think Dolos
Yeah.
bound. I think Dolos bound his hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's everyone else up to that's not currently engaged in conversation with the man on the ground?
Conversation.
I kind of look over at them and I'm like, okay, like they got this covered. And I look down at the graphic paper that I found that one of those bodies. That
Yeah.
had, like the fauna stamp on it.
You take another look at it. It's like a little. Yeah, it's like a little. It's like a little ticket, a square piece of like thick parchment. But it's been crumpled up, and it has like a number on one side, and on the back side there's like an insignia or a stamp in red ink that's got like a little. It's got like a round bathtub, and it looks like it's got like steam coming out of the waters, and dancing around the tub are like is a depiction of these little nymphs kind of dancing around the bath. There's no like name or anything.
Can I check my mind frame and see if I can recall this like symbol from anywhere around here?
Yeah, I guess just make an insight check.
Is that gonna work today?
I don't know if I don't know if your character would have necessarily seen this particular image before, but you do know that it is like some kind of it's kind of like a coat check type thing where it's like you would go to a bathhouse and you would hand over some of your stuff, and they would keep it for you while you luxuriated in some kind of like massage or spa like treatment. You know that most of the ones that would have these tickets would probably exist in the upper city. You wouldn't find one in the lower city that are kind of more like public bathhouses where you might go and pay a couple copper to take a bath in like a big communal bathtub, These ones that have these more personalized tickets like this where it's like they might have attendants and things to do that kind of stuff would be somewhere in the upper city. And, taking a look at these cultists that you just killed, it's kind of odd. You think it's maybe odd that one of them would have this object. You're not sure if they took it from somebody or if would have had it themselves, because none of them, except for the one guy, look like they've had a bath in some time. What about Dolos and Krayley? You said Krayley, you're kind of off to the side.
Yeah, I just want to be out to the side, just kind of catching my breath and stuff. I just feel like Krayley would be a little overwhelmed. I mean, having had to kill some people.
One thing you guys, I think, all would recognize is that without Dolos' assistance, this fight could have been a lot worse for all of you. It was some of his magic that put most of the cultists to sleep, allowing you to focus on the two magic users. What is Dolos doing at the moment?
Dolos is by the front door of the barracks, currently
Okay.
trying to stay hidden.
Yeah. Does it look to the others like you're trying to like slink off into the mist, or are you?
No, he's probably just waiting.
Okay.
He's like that guy in the mist who's just on the cross, just patiently waiting.
Well, you have the man on the ground. You have the man on the ground bound. He doesn't really interact actively with you unless you kick him in the face or ask him a question. Otherwise, he just kind of like his head kind of like lolls back again, and he's gazing at, he's like grinning at the people picking up the dead bodies, admiring the work that he's done.
So, do we interrogate this man?
Let's bring him back into the barracks. I'm sure he has something he could share.
They
As I,
always do.
I'd put my hand on his ropes and start dragging him to the barracks.
You hoist him up fairly easily, and I have a temporary map for the barracks. I think I'm going to try and make one maybe with Incarnate that's really an accurate representation of what the inside of the barracks looks like. But in the meantime, I have a placeholder for inside the barracks. So in the center of the room is kind of like the meeting table where you guys have been having breakfast. Over here is more like where the kitchen area is, where you guys discovered the basement. And here are the stairs that lead up to the second level of the barracks. This would be kind of like the front door where you guys come in and out. And this is more of like a fireplace than just a stone table with like a brazier in the middle. And then over here on the left side is Captain Lightheart's little corner where Misty is curled up in a ball of white fluff.
I will throw him into this corner. Bottom left. And once everyone in the party, whoever decides to follow, arrives, that's when I'll begin my questioning. So, you guys.
I join the party.
I'll get up and see that everybody's kind of wandering inside. Collect myself a little bit, and then walk inside.
Do you guys invite Dolos to come with you?
Oh, yes, the walk right.
Of course.
Wonderful.
Of course.
Thank you, my good sir.
Actually, one thing that I would like to kind of do, maybe briefly, we can just pause for a moment. I had meant to do this, and we did it a little bit at the first session, but I think I got kind of wrapped up in the storytelling. Maybe if everyone, now that you're all together, could just go one by one and do more of a, you've had like a night. I know Dolos, you're fresh out off your escape, but just kind of like go through and describe each of your characters now more in detail that you've cleaned up after a few days in Baldur's Gate, and just like really go into detail of like what everyone would be seeing now that you're all kind of gathered together in the barracks. Maybe we'll just start at the top with Tanwak.
Yes, I am standing here. Now I'm standing there.
But do you want to just give like a description of your characters, like what they're wearing, what they look like, in your own words?
Oh, you want us to do that again?
Yeah, just because I think I got kind of caught up like in the first session in just running the session that I didn't really like get it visualized, and I think maybe it would just be good for everyone to go over one more time now that everyone's had a few days in Baldur's Gate and they've gotten settled in. I just like for my own personal to hear you guys describe your characters again and like what they're wearing, what they would typically like, what their armor, what their clothes look like, how you might describe your character, just so I can like really visualize it. Because when I talk about you guys, my visualization is more from like just looking at your tokens and you're reading your character backgrounds, and also we kind of missed because I fucked up the recording on the first session, so maybe even just for posterity's sake, so it's like there and available, we'll just do it the traditional character description just a bit late.
Yes, please.
Well, good thing I filled out my character blog. Alright, let's see. Tanwak is a young man of below average height and weight. He has shimmering silver skin that blushes with colors of bronze and rose gold, solid black irises like plates of obsidian, and jet black hair that shines with iridescent hues of blue, all aspects of his celestial heritage because he's an Azimut. His attire consists of a pearlescent skirt held up by a silver cord belt and fastened with a ruby-encrusted brooch, I don't know how to pronounce it. Armbands and bangles of gold, and a winged gold circlet with a lustrous gemstone at its center. Also, just to include what that thing I sent you. Don't ever touch the crown thing, or I will cut your hand off.
Now you've gotten a little money from Captain Lightheart, and you like kind of out of character. Maybe you've each been able to squeeze in a little time to go like maybe buy a new outfit or something. Has Tanwak purchased any clothing that is native to these lands? Some kind of Baldur's Gate local fashion besides the cloak?
Oh, also, by the way, I finally chose what I want my cloak's cantrip.
Oh yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell us what that is?
I decided on something more utilitarian and probably just aesthetic. Druid craft.
Oh, nice. I like that. That's what they're supposed to be for. It's just supposed to be for fun. Did you choose what does the cloak look like that you chose? Because there were some cloaks that had the sigil of the new flaming fist on them with the open hand of Torm, but there were some kind of nondescript describe how you like cloaks as well, because you had agreed to work with Captain Lightheart but not necessarily directly for the flaming fist. So what's your cloak look like too?
Oh, for some reason the first thing that came in my head was ermine, but like I'm not gonna wear a cloak made out of these cute little ferret thingies. I would just say it's probably just a nondescript like half cape.
Yeah, I used to have a ferret, so I would have to give you disadvantage for wearing a ferret skin cloak.
Ferrets are illegal in the state of California.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're not in Washington.
But yeah, I wear a let's see, I can't decide between burgundy or like a pearl white. You know what? I'll roll for it. What is 1 to 45 is burgundy, 50 to Wait, no, 1 to 50 is burgundy.
Well, you-
51 to 100.
You definitely find one that sort of fits the aesthetic of your crown.
Burgundy it is. Oh no, I rolled a d20. That doesn't count. Oh wait, no, it does. It does count. We'll just multiply it by 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
25.
Well, so that's what you guys see for Tanwak. His new cloak kind of draped down around his waistline. There is like a little brooch that was attached to the cloak that's like a tree branch, like a little silver tree branch. Sylvie, how about you go next?
Well, I don't know if I can top that description.
Silly.
It's not a competition. Character describing is not a competition.
That's a loser's mentality.
Sylvie is a moon elf. She is kind of like a silvery grayish blue skin tone. Pink lip. Very curly blue hair. And she normally wears it either like up in a ponytail or in braids. And she has lilac eyes. And she obviously purple's her favorite color because her armor is completely purple. And yeah, purple and gold armor. The cloak that she got is also purple because Sylvie's obsessed with purple. And she chose the Gust cantrip for her cloak, and it is a full length to the floor cloak.
Does your purple cloak have the sigil of the fist on it, or is it just kind of more?
I feel like it's in the inside.
Oh, okay. So the lining is like that blazing red. The
Yeah.
lining's like that blazing red, and the open palm of Torm is on the inside. I like that.
Yeah.
And your cloak also had a brooch. It was kind of like a little silver and white little whirlwind, like
Ooh.
if you imagine like the Tasmanian devil spinning up, it's kind of like that. Yeah. Cool. How about Dolos? We haven't really got a good look at Dolos yet.
Yes. When you look at him, you would see a tall-ish figure, maybe about 5'9", cloaked in with a hood and a full-length robe of very dark blacks and grays and charcoal. Not the best quality or the best taken care of. There's some scrapes here and some cuts there, but it holds with a little rope, you could say, I forget the word, around his waist. However, the stalking thing is on his face. You see this intricately detailed white mask. The only thing you can see or you can gain from it, his person, is his similarly ice white eyes, piercing as they may be.
And you haven't received a cantrip cloak yet, but I'm sure that you will. You will eventually.
Yes, we can.
And how about you, Sebastian? Bernard?
So Bernard is a tiefling with a periwinkle skin tone. His horns go around and form towards the back of his head, kind of like a little bit of a crown. He has ruby red eyes. He's not super tall. He's around your average height, 5'9". So it doesn't really stand out height physically from some of the other tieflings you would see around in Baldur's Gate. He likes to wear a bronze armor, a bronze plate armor with a purple accents. And when he went down into the basement, he actually picked up a purple cape to match along with the accents on his armor. And that cape had thaumaturgy on it.
Is the one you chose
It would have the insignia of the new Flaming Fist.
outwardly facing, or
Yep.
or on the inner lining? Okay, cool.
On the out, so people would be able to easily identify him as one of the Flaming Fist. He has a dark brown hair with like purple hue to it, slicked back, kind of following the form of his crown, of his horns. And let me see what else. Anything significant besides that? And that's it. Yeah. There's not really many. He's not physically. He doesn't physically stand out or physically unique in any way, really, compared to other tieflings you would see on the street.
Much like your cloak, the clasp, the brooch that clasps this cloak together is an open hand of Torm, an open-handed gauntlet of Torm, and it is kind of wreathed in a little bushel of flame. Krayley, how about you?
Yes, so Krayley is a gray Urgon. His fur is gray. He's got some white tips of his ears, and then on his paws, you can see. In terms of his outfit, in this instance, he really just was wearing some plain, simple brown clothing, something that maybe people in town would wear for farming or just things like that. As to the bow, his eyes are blue. And then, in terms of the cape, he just grabbed a very simple brown cape. Insignias on it. And
Your the clasp of your cloak has like these are all like metal pins that clasp your cloaks together, and yours is like a big, plump, perfectly shaped potato. I'm just because I'm kind of curious. I think it can happen both ways for the Harengon. Do you have more of an anthropomorphic lower half, where like you have like straight, more humanoid legs, or are yours kind of like bent like a rabbit's might be, where they kind of form like more of a springing, you know what I mean?
yeah, more of the latter.
I like that. I imagine the Harengon it can happen either way, you know, but I pictured Krayley being more rabbit-like almost in their physical form. Cool. Now I have a very clear picture in my mind of how you guys saunter around the world. Okay, sorry for the OOC, but thank you for placating me, and now go ahead and torture this cultist.
So I turned to Dolo, who is our Dolos, and say, "So, what do you do?"
Oh, well, as I said earlier, I work for Order Ravengard. There was an attack at High Hall, and I fled. Just into another fight. Thank you for saving me.
I want to do an insight check.
Sure.
I would like to second that.
Absolutely.
He's a
Can I do
liar.
a deception check?
Yeah. Anyone who would like to make an insight check can, and as well, Dolos, if you would like to make a deception check, you can as well.
I would love to.
Oof.
Oof. Well, we're oblivious.
Unlike the rest of you who've all had interactions with Captain Lightheart, and so you all have like this common thread that binds you together. This new person, has just kind of, you've wandered into them by chance during the combat. As far as you know, although there's no like blatant outward thing about Dolos that would indicate that they are under the employ of Older Ravengard or the Flaming Fist. You believe that what he says is true, and I think as far as his actions in the battle, they would corroborate his story.
Do you know anything that, or do you happen to know anything that might help us get something out of this man? I heard the cultists of Bhaal have been causing problems as of recent.
Maybe if we bring them their holy symbol, like a ball or like a sphere or something.
Yeah.
Why don't you, Dolos? Why don't you also make just make an intelligence check for me, just a flat intelligence check.
Okay.
No. What's with our rolls tonight?
Blame the pollution.
Well, I was going to say that maybe you had noticed something during your flight in the high halls, but I think that the intensity of the situation, it was all kind of a blur to you, and you don't, and you had thought of something to say almost, but it flees from your mind.
My apologies, but I fled in such a fright. I really can't remember much of anything. I was in a meeting with Order, and then they attacked. I had to make sure to save my own life.
Well, it is what it is.
Yes. Do you folks have a commander or general around? Someone in authority? And Delos looks to Tanawak, because I assume this man is not that one.
You mean Captain Lightheart? I don't know why. Every single time I want to say Lightfoot. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
it's Lightheart.
Yeah, I want to say Lightfoot too.
It's funny, I do that as well when I'm thinking about him in my own brain.
It just makes more sense. Captain Lightfoot.
Maybe if he was also a heron gun, but maybe he is. Twist.
I'd say right now Sylvie is like sitting back in like a chair she finds with like her legs propped up on like a chest or table or something, and it crumbles up a piece of parchment into a ball and just whips it at the person we're interrogating. There's your ball.
You do know they mean the god of murder, right?
Yeah, Bhaal.
Yeah.
How do you think it's spelt?
Bhall.
That's not how you spell
Oh.
ball.
Apparently, we have two different understandings of what ball is.
The
Well, whatever this god is, he doesn't exist where I'm from.
And where are you from?
Across the ocean.
Oh, an outsider.
I also hardly know anything about Faerunian gods.
There.
You came to Baldur's Gate? Not Waterdeep? Huh.
Baldur's
water was
Gate
too
has
deep.
its perks.
Corruption, crime, and the imminent invasion of a demonic presence at all times.
All necessities for a thriving civilization.
You are right there.
So,
What should we do with our guest?
We'll most certainly give him a bath. He stinks.
heard him.
I think when Crayley came in, we grabbed some water to drink, and then you guys
Oh,
I
so you're
look
playing good
over-
cop.
Yeah, I look over at Crayley and I'm like, you're too nice.
I'll take the water.
He's gonna drown him with a
If you
cup of
offer
water.
it.
Oh no, he's gonna waterboard him.
I was thinking maybe we could try to offer it to our guest first.
Oh, you're never supposed to be nice to your enemies.
Besides, he's a
Put your glass down around here, so we don't have to reach for it.
But he's tied up.
he's tied up. That's even worse. You're actually worse.
Grab that part. I'll still do it.
Okay.
Just set it down in front.
he looks at the glass, and he looks over at you, and he smiles, and he says, "My only thirst is the thirst to watch your blood spill upon the stone floor of this room."
Yeah, not gonna
Oh,
happen.
jeez.
And I've
You're
lost
dreaming.
interest.
Your blood could spill.
Losing interest. He just goes. Where's the main table? Right here.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Bernard is going to flip a seat around, sit down. Let's wait for the captain, I guess. He'll be proud that we captured one alive. And
sure?
it.
Where I am.
Go ahead.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Silence is deafening.
it is. But
Be
so,
my guest if you want to hurt him. It's just.
oh, I will, but I
He's
feel like I
just
should be introduced to the people here, as I do not know any of you. Well, you seem familiar, as I point to Bernard.
Fair. Bernard Pieter. Of the Pieter family.
Ah, a pleasure to see you again.
Again.
Yes, call me a family friend.
Okay. Nice to see you again. And you said your name was?
Oh, you can call me Dolos.
Nice to make your acquaintanceship once again, Dolos.
It is my pleasure.
I think we just wait for the captain. I do want to poke my head out.
Sure. A little bit of time passes.
With
As-
the others distracted, I'm going to kneel. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to kneel next to the whatever this guy is, and let's see. I'm going to attempt to roll deception, but first I actually got to say the thing for him. I will tell him, "Do not be perturbed by them, brother." Brother. Sorry, I had to. Every single time I say brother, you have to do a whole reference. Do not be perturbed by them, brother. I am a practitioner of the teachings of Zaltek, the god of war and violence. Perhaps I can. Perhaps I can assist you in some way. Deception check.
Yeah, go ahead, make one. He says, "I'm listening."
We'll need to maintain this cover of your capture for now. But when the time comes, I shall free you, and you shall escape this blasted little cozy abode of theirs and wreak havoc upon this world.
He looks you up and down.
Yes, I know. My garb makes me appear quite like the do-gooder.
You don't seem like you're from around here. I've never heard of that god.
He's a god from across the ocean, in the land of Mastika. Only recently, within the past couple of years, had we returned from our exile in Abir.
How will I know when the moment's right?
Leave that to me. And I'll get the water and I'll offer to feed, well, I guess not necessarily feed him, but I guess, yeah, feed him the water.
He like sips it while he's looking at you in the eyes. His eyes are all bloodshot still. He looks at you and he says, "If you betray me, you will pay in blood."
Oh, but of course, regardless of what happens, Zaltek will be pleased by any form of violence.
He seems satisfied. You guys are kind of milling about. Crazy.
Would any of us have noticed that interaction?
Right? You whisper.
Not enough to care. Haha.
Yeah, you can make an insight perception check.
Oh, man, they're gonna have to beat that 21 deception.
It was like quick whispering.
I don't think.
It kind of looked like maybe Tanwak was trying to convince the guy to drink some water. But yeah,
So
you
wait,
can,
perception or insight?
I guess if you're just trying to notice it, then perception, or you probably saw them interacting. So I guess insight if you want to, like, read deeper.
Oh, I didn't care at all.
Yeah, you guys kind of make out the interaction. You pick up some of what Tanwak's whispering to the fellow. But you get, especially you, Sylvie, you can tell that Tanwak is just trying to gain the guy's trust.
Okay.
He turns to the others. You're probably like, it's okay, guys, he's not evil.
Krayley, you peek your head outside, and there is somebody walking towards the barracks. They seem to be like a younger boy, dressed in fairly nice clothing. They have like a kind of like a half tabard, almost like a bib that drapes down over their head that has the sigil of like Boulder's Gate on it, which is a ship I think I can't totally remember what the Baldur's Gate flag looks like, but it's like a ship in the water or something like that. I'll double check that later. But he has a sigil of Baldur's Gate, and he has he comes up to the door as you're peeking your head out, and he kind of like waves at you. He says, "I was told to bring this here from Captain Lightheart," and he hands you like a letter, a little folded parchment paper.
I will step out and take it.
Sure. He just kind of like obediently turns on his heel. He gives you like a little salute and heads back up towards the upper city.
Step back inside, and we're just gonna get to this area, and just say, just kind of announce. So looks like we got a letter from the captain. We have not opened it. I guess we can get together and read this.
Of course.
Okay.
I will sit down in one of these chairs
It's kind of hastily written. You guys don't. I don't think anyone's like had a. Well, actually, you do. You have seen a good sample of Captain. Oh no! You've seen. Nobody's seen a good sample of Captain Lightheart's handwriting. I don't think so. It looks like it's been hastily written, and it says, "Sorry, recruits. There has been a coordinated attack throughout the city, including one at the High Halls against Older Ravengard. I will be busy for the remainder of the day, but I will try to be back to the barracks just after sunset. If duty is still not required of me. So make yourselves comfortable, and hopefully I will see you later."
And I would say that I would want to travel to High Hall to go find him, just so I'm not milling about here with the guy that thinks that I'm his friend.
Mm-hmm.
But then I mean that would be splitting the party, and splitting the party always results in danger.
I wouldn't mind visiting High Hall to help him out.
That in the upper city?
It is.
Okay, Sylvie tags along for going.
Well, what do we do with this guy?
I'll stay with him.
All right, Crazy, maybe you could feed him some more water.
Do we think the captain is really going to be in a lot of danger? Do you think he's capable?
If he saw what I saw, any help would be appreciated over there.
True.
I feel like
Sure.
but I do want to run up and grab my backpack.
Well, there's Now you guys are more than welcome to go see if you can find Captain Lightheart in the upper city and see if he needs you. The letter doesn't request that. I don't know if you would want to spend time. If you guys would want to spend time before that. I know, Krayley, you don't have your armor or anything. All you have is your bow and some arrows with you, right? Would you want to go retrieve like the rest of your belongings, or are you guys just going to go to head towards the High Hall and see if you can find Captain Lightheart? It sounds like there were other attacks throughout the city, including in the upper city.
Regardless, I'll still go and
Okay.
Are we?
for this.
Are we technically in a short rest?
Yeah, for sure. You're technically in a short rest. Yeah, I guess you guys did have a fight and stuff, huh?
Yes.
Yes. Sylvie's pretty dinged up right now.
So is Delos.
I don't get any spell slots from a short rest, do I? No, I don't think I do.
No, I think that's
No.
just long rest.
It would take about a half hour, Krayley, for you to head back to home to pick up the rest of your stuff and come back to the barracks.
Dang, didn't think about that. Well, instead of just immediately running out the door, I would just say, by the way, I was not incredibly prepared for this fight that just happened. And the rest of my stuff it's going to take a little bit, like 30 minutes away. And I don't quite feel comfortable running through the streets now myself. Could wait and see what happens, but if we want to go that route, I would need to go get my stuff. So I'm a little bit.
Do you show the others the parchment you found, Sylvie, at all?
Mm-mm.
Keep it to yourself?
Yeah.
Well, Captain Lightheart has informed you that he will hopefully return later in the evening, and that there was an attempt on Older Raven Guard's life in the High Halls, as well as other attacks, likely from similar groups of cultists throughout the city. It's possible that some of those attacks could still be happening. He didn't instruct you to come try and find him. He just said that he'll meet you back in the barracks after dusk. So you're almost kind of on your own to decide what you're going to do next.
I just thought it'd be a good excuse to get into the upper city. Also, like I said, I don't want to just stand there and then the guy's like, "Why are you just standing here? What about our plan?"
Sure.
What is your plan?
Yeah. He's waiting for the signal.
I will lean down and I'll tell him we're gonna go and retrieve the captain of this barracks. We will allow him to interrogate you and answer him truthfully. That way, he believes he is at an advantage with all the information that that is necessary. Then I will escort you to the jail, but I will release you then. That way we can plan a trap for the spook later.
This is being whispered, or
Yeah, I'm whispering it to him, but if it's loud enough, people can hear, so they're kind of ixnaying on the plan.
Make another deception check, though.
Oh, I hope I roll high again. Nope.
Oh.
Delos will use silvery quartz. That is something I can do. It is a reaction. And it should work.
No, so that means I redo the roll, but
No, I think he redoes the roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The triggering creature, yeah. So you hear him like listening, and
I cast guidance, like in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, yep. Guidance.
1d4.
I if you have guidance, I'm thinking about making guidance a reaction spell.
Makes sense.
You notice, Dolos, that Tonwalk's raised the tone of his voice, though. And you pick up through the subtle, details of the micro expressions of the cultist face that he's starting to, kind of catch on to Tonwalk's ploy here. And you take a brief moment to, alter the course of the interaction with your spell. And as he's starting to focus in on the deception, his mind kind of wanders back into just being the promise of escape, and he starts to kind of continue to accept the ruse. And then I missed Bernard's. What was your insight for?
To see if I could finally figure out the plan, because I failed last time.
Gotcha. You guys have
my knowledge.
You guys have some time in the barracks. So I guess what your options are at the moment is, if you want to accompany Crayley to Southfoot before you head into the upper city to retrieve the rest of their equipment, and maybe keep an eye out for other attacks happening in the city along the way. You could do something like that. You could just head directly into try to get into the upper city to the high halls, and see if you can find Captain Lightheart.
We can escort our little bunny friend to his hometown.
You guys haven't really even asked the cultist that many questions, really. You just kind of brought him inside.
We think that's probably Captain Lightheart.
Yeah,
Captain Lightheart is probably the better interrogator, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's gonna be the one that really knows what the guard is lacking in information and stuff like that.
And then, Dolos, I think for you at least, I don't know how you're feeling, but I don't know if Dolos would necessarily feel 100% comfortable just kind of marching back up into the upper city so soon after your escape, but that's up to
I think
character.
I think Delos is very much of either he will stay here or he will go to the lower city.
Yeah.
Little thoughts.
If Dolos wants to stay here so the guy doesn't renege on my made-up plan, he can.
I can always get you folks some answers. I'm known to be a pretty good interrogator now and then.
Be our guest.
It would be my pleasure.
I know we just done a bunch of inside checks, but I don't think I was really was savvy to the plan.
Well, you weren't here you were outside for the first one. The second one, you were inside, and I was talking a little louder, so you could be able to do insight on that one, I think, unless lawful you say no.
No, Crayley, you see that it seems like Tonwalk is attempting to gain some trust from the cultist you guys have bound in the barracks, but you can tell that his intentions are not truly to help him out, but to, he's just trying a different tactic to try and either weave some information out of him or at the very least get him to lower his guard.
So do we want to make the side trip to pick up some gear, or?
I wouldn't mind. It'd allow me to see more of this Baldur's Gate.
I do have a question for Dolo. Are you for
Yes,
sure
miss.
staying behind to interrogate?
Well, miss, I believe that would be the better option.
Okay, because if you are, I would like to give you one of my bardic inspirations. A little thing on my pan flute.
Ah. Well, miss, And Dolos will hum a little tune and give you a bardic inspiration. One for you as well. A trade for a trade.
Trade for trade.
Really run and get another glass of water.
Sure.
More water.
More water, please.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Krayley's so thirsty.
Damn.
That's the plan.
You guys gather together for the trip through the city to head to the outer limits on the far side of the hill into Southfoot, so Crayley can be properly equipped for whatever may come for the rest of the day. And perhaps, you weren't sure if you were going to agree to Captain Lightheart's plea to have you join up with the Fist and help him restore some order to Boulder's Gate. Dolos, you're going to stay behind.
Yes.
And the rest of you kind of make your way out there. I don't want to keep you guys necessarily split up for too long, so I'm not even really going to. It's kind of strange. I've never fully ran like a entirely insulated city campaign before, so like normally when the group would travel, sometimes I might have random encounters set up and things of that nature, which I still should probably get like a Boulder's Gate random encounter table going. But I would say more on your way through the city. Maybe if there's anything on the maybe if you kind of point out the direction you might take, I could. If you have anything you have your eyes out for, I could kind of point some things out to you that your characters might be on the lookout for, and but I think you'll get to Southfoot and return with really not much incident. I think maybe at the very least I will just roll to see if you encounter another band of cultists, but I will just do this as a standard printed random encounter roll that it would say in like the Dungeon Master's Guide, which is like a 17 plus. So yeah, you guys don't encounter any other. I think maybe you pass by a couple of other spots where fights have happened. You see people cleaning up bodies, and here and there some other little groups of wounded Flaming Fist. You get a glare from a group just outside the Basilisk Gate, where it seemed that there was an attack. And these, you can tell clearly, are from some of the old guard of the Fist. They see some of you wearing the new sigil of Ulder's Fist, and you kind of see them give you dirty looks as you pass by, but they don't really engage with you. Dolos, as you're left alone in the barracks with the cultist, is there anything that you would like to say to them?
Yes. I think after a couple minutes after the rest of the party is left, Delos will go up to the cultists and be like, "So, why? Why worship Bhaal?
Why what?
Why worship Bhaal?"
He looks. He looks at you in the eyes, and he says, "Have you ever felt the touch of a god?"
Yes.
Before I dedicated myself to Bhaal, I was nothing. Now I can wield true power.
Well, then maybe you and I are not so different. As a follower of Merkel, I understand, but
Are you,
this is a lie.
Okay, yeah, make a deception check.
Yeah, he's lying.
Filthy liar.
Ooh.
I kind of like characters that will lie as often as possible.
Of course.
He looks at you hard in the face for a moment, and he says, I've never seen you before. The mask is distinct.
Yes, it was newly made. I mean, usually it doesn't have to be used. Indulus will cast disguise self on himself to make him look like Bernard. I can be whoever I choose to be.
So you have tasted true power, then.
Of course.
Then
Why do you think I was?
Then why do you ask me such pointless questions?
Because I want to know more about the attack on High Hall. I was in the room with Order, and I almost had him. You guys messed up. And at this point, he'll hold the dagger to his throat and push him back to the wall. Now tell me, why?
He says, well, we got our orders from Mortlock. It was time to strike.
Dumb fool of course. Okay. Of course this is doing well.
Maybe you should talk to Vaz. He doesn't always communicate all the details between the factions.
I've gotten that impression. Working with people like Mortlock and Avernus have been challenging, to say the least.
Well, now that they're gone, we should get out of here. We're supposed to be back to the bathhouse any time.
Oh, you think you're getting out of here alive?
Well, now's our chance. Why wouldn't I?
Oh, you poor, pitiful fool. You are not worthy of Bhaal.
He, surges up to try and knock you over. Why don't you select your token and roll initiative? Or just roll initiative on your character sheet.
Okay. I don't actually know how to select my tokens. I was...
No, that's okay. We're not even on that, map anymore. I don't think this guy has a I don't think this guy has a dex bonus.
He's still better than me.
Okay, make a athletics acrobatics check. He surges up to his feet and tries to knock you over.
Okay. I will make an acrobatics.
Ooh, nice.
Hey.
His hands are still bound. You kind of step to one side, and as it kind of took him a little longer than he had thought to get up, and he kind of crashes into the table, knocking some of the bowls and food that was up there off onto the floor. You see a little white fluffy cat in the corner jump up onto its feet, and all its fur stand up on end, and it hisses at the guy, and the cat kind of runs around the periphery of the room and hops onto the edge of the table. It's like tails flicking back and forth. The guy kind of turns, and he's looking around the room, and then his eyes see the door, and he looks like he's going to try and blow past you through the door to the streets. It's your turn.
Dole's gonna run up to him with his rapier unsheathed and attempt to stab him.
Yeah, go for it. I think he's got an AC of 10 at the moment, so you, having been basically knocked unconscious, just at 1 HP, you drive your rapier through the cultist's belly. He coughs out some blood, and he says, like with his just last dying breath, "You will all serve Bhaal eventually," and he like goes limp on your body.
Long live the Lord of Bones.
And you shake. Yeah, you
rattle my bones.
You shake him off your blade. He kind of falls over.
Delos is gonna set the body back up where it was, clean up the blood, take out his dagger and slit his throat, and make it look like he killed himself.
So you like unbind his hands and stuff?
Yeah, I sort of make it look like there was a struggle and he killed himself, so he couldn't tell us anything.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know if I would have to give you a check for that, but
I would say, yeah, make like a sleight of hand check.
sleight of hand, okay.
Oh no.
Or
can I use my inspiration?
Or wait, let me look at the skill list real quick. That maybe it could even be like a you can use your inspiration. I would say performance, maybe even performance. Staging a scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using my inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You set the body. You unbind the hands and wrap your. You take your sash back from your robes and tie it back around you. You place the guy back over in the corner and you lay him on the ground. You slit his throat and blood begins to kind of pool around his shoulders and neck on the floor of the barracks. You are cleaning up the blood where you drove your rapier through him, and you've got you find some like clean towels over by the kitchen area, and then you can hear like the voices of the others returning to the barracks down the street. You can hear them like talking, and you kind of have to like hastily finish up the job, and then the door of the barracks opens and the others return.
Do we instantly see his dead body?
Yeah, you guys see the cultist on the floor of the barracks, kind of on his back. You see a dagger on the ground a few feet away from the body, and a pool of blood beneath the cultist on the floor. You see Dolos with like a bloody one of Captain Lightheart's bloody towel, like clean towels. Captain Lightheart is very neat and particular. As you see one of his clean towels all covered in blood. Dolo's kind of like wiping his hands with it.
I'm gonna rush over to the dead cultist and I'm gonna be like, my plan.
Make an insight or medicine check.
Are they mutually exclusive?
I would say it's just an offering of whichever ability is better for you, but you can discern the same thing either way.
They're both the same.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter then.
Oh, does my inspiration give me advantage?
You can use your inspiration.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great, I'm gonna finally get advantage. That's still sad.
Oh no.
What was your performance roll? A 9 as well?
Yeah.
It looks like somehow there was a struggle, and you're looking at him. You're not sure if this is the work of. You're not sure how it happened. It seems like that he's had his throat slit.
Dolos, we leave for 5 minutes and our captive is dead.
There was a struggle. I almost died.
You almost got killed by a man tied in ropes?
Are you okay?
Of course,
I could-
Kaylee's gonna.
I could be better, sir, but I was able to get a little bit of information. There's a man named Mohawk. I do not know much of him, but he lives in the upper city. And he is in contact with these cultists. You find him, you find more information.
Oh. You offered more information than he did when he was alive, so I'm fine with it.
Thank
It is
you.
better than nothing, I suppose.
It is it not?
So how are you gonna explain to Lightheart that we have a corpse in his house?
We clean the blood, and we dispose of the body.
Sylvie is staring Dolos down right now. Blank expression, just staring him down. She doesn't believe him at all.
You see a masked face staring right back at you.
I don't think he's lied to you, though. There was a struggle.
There was a struggle, which is even worse, because like I said, he was literally bound at the hands. I don't know how. Knocked out, bound at the hands, jaw broken. I mean, dude.
Those who are powered by the gods may do wonderful and sadistic things in their name. Some are given strength, some are given divinity, and some are given bloodlust. But so, can you help me?
I go and pick up the body. I will pick up the body, heft it over my shoulder, and go out into the street and dump it around in the alleyway.
The trash service comes on Thursdays. I think today's a Tuesday. So
Yeah,
you
I'll let you get to it.
there are like I don't know what you would call them. Not
Morticians?
yeah, not sort of like you know, there are people that are kind of like janitors almost, you know, they that, you know, are employed by large cities that will come and remove refuse or clean up after some violent act. You know, there are like some essentially like city workers that are out helping some of the normal common folk with the corpse disposal and cleanup, and a couple of them spot you. They take the body from you. They place the corpse of the man on a kind of dirty stretcher, and he's one of the last ones, as everything else has kind of been cleaned up. There's a small group of other of these same types of people, and they lift the stretcher and they head off kind of towards the direction of the Serpent Gate outside of the city, likely where there's probably some sort of graveyard where unknowns, John Does, are buried or cremated. And Krayley, you're able to kind of put some of the rest of your stuff up in one of the rooms that you have now here in the barracks. The only thing that you have a brief interaction with your what was your other mother's name?
Dorinda.
Dorinda. You have a brief interaction with her, and she tells you that in 2 days there will be a funeral service for your mother Samantha. You guys also notice that Captain Light. Yeah, if you actually want to have a interaction with Dorinda, you can.
I just want to keep it very brief.
Yeah.
But I would just ask when we get there that you guys stay outside for a moment, and then I'll go right back into that room. And
Yeah. She's in there sitting on your bed. It's only a day later, and your mother's body's still kind of there covered with a sheet. It doesn't smell. It's, starting to maybe have a little bit of a smell. She says, she kind of starts to kind of cry lightly. She says, I'm sorry. They wanted to take her away, but I just couldn't bear it. I'd like to bury her in the garden.
I'll just say I think same.
What did that man want that came in the night?
He offered.
I recognized him for some reason.
Well, did you ever read Mom's journal? Or no, he gave me the journal.
No, but I think maybe he had dinner here once. It was a long time ago.
I read a little bit of Mom's journal.
Oh.
She seemed to look up to him.
What did he want?
He offered a couple of things. He first offered to help me find this Captain Zaj.
There's been men watching the house since you left, and the rest of you would have noticed that there are a couple of flaming fist, like just down kind of across from Krayley's home, but they have tabards on that are that have the open fist of Torm, the open hand of Torm, and they're fully armored. They have helms on with long spears, and you would assume that maybe Captain Lightheart has stationed a guard to watch your home, Krayley, in case any of the men return to finish the job.
Let's see. He also offered offered to bring about the change that Mom had wanted before she left the Fists. And during that moment, I just want to, because I think he gave us 50 gold each, I just want to pass that 50 gold to her and say this was something he had offered. I want you to use this for Mom's burial. Or whatever.
She kind of like doesn't even really look at it. She just kind of sets it next to her. She says, it was
I
your...
just want to grab her and sorry, I'm just it's just small.
She pats you on the back of your head and wraps her arm around you, and she says, it was your mother's idealistic nature that was one of the main things I really fell in love with when we first met. And she kind of starts to tear up as well, and she says, you've grown up, Krayley, and you have to start making some of your own choices. I know things were a mess when your mother left the Fist, but you have to follow your instincts now. Although I couldn't bear to lose you as well.
I just hug her and say, I love you, Mom. I will try to follow my own path, but first I can't let this disgusting person get away with it. And then I'll hug her again. Kiss her on the forehead, and I will also kiss Samantha on the forehead. Just say, love you. And then I'll join you. Dear Anna.
Make an insight check.
Okay.
Or perception. Sorry, perception.
Oh no.
It's still very emotional, with your mom being there, and you gather your stuff, and you head out to the others. You take a good look at the two Fist across the way, wearing tabards of the new Fist, and they both kind of give you a stern nod under their helms. They both seem like fairly burly, sturdy warriors, and they don't seem to be like at ease. They seem to be taking their duty here in Southfoot quite seriously. Seems as though the rest of this portion of the outer rim of Boulder's Gate is, kind of going about their normal business, but you notice some of the other folk that are a part of this small community you live in out here, they give you sorrowful waves, half, kind of encouraging smiles, kind of eyeing your other new companions as you make your way back towards the city. When you come back through the Serpent's Gate, before you head back to the barracks, you notice the Fists that were there are gone. You have your eye out for Captain Zodge the whole time, who you don't catch a glimpse of. The rest of his 5 men that were there that night had all had hoods on, so you never quite really got a good look at them. So as far as you know, it could have been one of those couple of pairs that were there sitting at the Serpent's Gate itself. You haven't found out anything much about Captain Zodge yet, and so I know maybe that's something in that Krayley might have an interest in the future. And then you guys make your way back to the barracks, and you find, that the cultist has been expired one way or another. But you do find out that a bit of information that Dolo seems to have pulled out of the cultists before the struggle that they had between them. And we're at a good mid-session point here. It is 7:30, so we'll take a little 5-minute break.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Feel free to do what you gotta do.